A cross-party meeting of TDs and senators held in Leinster House on the 27th of May, so on Tuesday, was told that in 2023 and 2024, Greyhound Racing Ireland paid €488,000 to two regional care homes who between them managed to home 65 dogs in the 2-year period. So that's almost €500,000 to home 65 dogs. And on the line is Nuala Donlon, spokesperson for Greyhound Action Ireland, who is questioning whether this is good use of taxpayers' money. Good morning to you, Nuala, and welcome back to the programme. Just maybe paint a picture for us, if you would, as to what these regional care homes actually do. One of them is in Kildare.
One is in Kildare. They were set up in 2021. In 2019, RT Investigates broadcast a programme which exposed the fact that 6,000 plus healthy dogs, greyhounds, were being killed every year in the greyhound industry because they couldn't run fast enough. And there was a huge PR scramble after that on the part of the Greyhound Board to try and, I suppose, redeem something of you know, the reputation, whatever it was that they had. And one of the measures they announced was that by March 2022 they would have 4 regional care homes in place. And these homes were supposed to act as a halfway house between the racing industry, between the kennels and the cages where most of these dogs are kept for their racing lives, and, you know, the forever home, the sofa or whatever. As of now, they have only 2 in place, one in Kildare and one in Limerick. And we recently discovered through answers to a Dáil question that, as you say, in 2023 and 24, nearly €500,000 was spent homing 65 dogs. That works out as over 7,000 a dog. We looked at their budget that they got for last year, just 2024, and they got €291,000, homed 36 dogs. That works out at over €8,000 a dog. And we compared that with the state funding of the ISPCA, the main rescue organisation and anti-cruelty organisation in the country. Also, we looked at a very small Sighthound Rescue down in Limerick. Now, the ISPCA got €1.2 million in last year's budget, and that covers their entire enforcement programme, their entire rehoming programme, their inspectorate, etc. They managed still to home 1,382 dogs. That works out at €837 a dog, and that's an overestimation because that was used for lots of other things apart from homing. A small Sighthound Rescue down in Limerick called Deel got 15,600 in budget 2024. It homed 143 dogs, and actually 23 of those dogs were ex-racing greyhounds, registered greyhounds. So they nearly did as well as the 2 care homes put together. So
why do you think then, Nuala, that there is such a difference? I mean, the ISPCA homing 1,382 dogs, that's Sighthound Rescue in Limerick, 143 dogs, but then those care homes located in Croom in County Limerick and Kilcullen here in Kildare, homing 65 dogs. Why do you think there is such a difference?
I have no idea, Owen. And we have Deputy Shea Brennan from Fianna Fáil submitted a Freedom of Information request to Greyhound Racing Ireland, asking them what exactly that money was spent on. Could they give a breakdown? And that was refused on commercial sensitivity grounds. We also asked a Dáil question. In the Dáil question, they said, you know, this is spent on expenses such as, you know, food, accommodation, veterinary bills, grooming, transport, the usual costs every single rescue in this country has. So, you know, they stopped. They told us in 2022 that they stopped funding the cost of transport to the USA for retired greyhounds. So it can't be that they have astronomical costs for the US. So I don't know, Owen. That's why I'm actually asking that there would be an investigation into this. This is funding greyhound racing is an outrageous waste of public money in any case.
Right, and just to say as well, we did contact Greyhound Racing Ireland for a statement or a spokesperson to come on the programme. We haven't had a response as of yet, and we also contacted the Department of Agriculture, and of course the Minister for Agriculture is Kildare South TD, Fine Gael's Martin Hayden, where we were told that he was preoccupied today with a full morning of pre-arranged commitments. But we did get a statement from the Department of Agriculture, and the statement says the greyhound racing industry receives financial support from the state through the Horse and Greyhound Racing Fund under Section 12 of the Horse and Greyhound Racing Act 2001. As part of Budget 2025, €19.8 million was allocated to the greyhound racing industry via RCE, which is the Irish word for Greyhound Racing Ireland. Government policy in Ireland has been to support the greyhound sector on the basis of its economic and social contribution, and to require at least 10% of public funding to be used to support welfare and integrity. Continued government support contingent on the industry meeting high welfare standards, and there's a strong commitment to improved animal welfare in the greyhound racing sector in the programme for government, including in respect of providing financial support to the Irish Retired Greyhound Trust and contributing to rehoming greyhounds. Now, we asked them what the money was spent on and whether it was considered value for money and good use of taxpayers' money to be spending that amount of money on rehoming dogs, but obviously that wasn't covered in that statement. What do you make of it, Nuala?
That's the standard statement. I'm sick listening to that exact statement wheeled out every time any questions are asked about greyhound racing in this country. That's the standard reply. Actually, sometimes you send a question to the Minister for Agriculture asking for his opinion on something that the Greyhound Board has done or not done, and he tells you it's referred to the Greyhound Board to be answered. So look, we need somebody here, maybe the Public Accounts Committee would take this on and ask what this money was spent on, because I can assure you, Owen, there are rescues around this country today who would kill for that sort of funding, and they would home an awful lot more dogs than the 2 care homes, as I say, that were, I think, in my opinion, a PR exercise. And, they talk about the increased welfare standards and so on. Last year was their worst year ever for track deaths. It was an increase of 51% on 2023. So if they're telling us that on the one hand they're increasing all this taxpayers' money to improve welfare, and we can see with our own eyes that the statistics are showing that actually welfare is getting worse, then certainly the Minister for Agriculture has questions to ask.
Right. Do these care homes, though, do you feel, still have a role, Nuala? Because on the flip side of that, and just to play devil's advocate, if there was no care homes set up, surely yourself and other advocates will be saying, well, we need care homes in this country.
Actually, you know what we need, Owen? We need to stop the greyhound industry breeding thousands of dogs that are surplus to requirement every year. And if they are going to be continuously funded to do that, then we need a far more efficient way of trying to get homes for the dogs that are produced that aren't wanted. And I think if you have anybody on from rescues around the country, they'll tell you that homing any dog at this point is difficult because there's such a glut of unwanted dogs post-COVID. So if we're going to home greyhounds, and I would love every single greyhound in this country to be homed, and I'll give you figures in a moment which show that certainly isn't happening. But if we're going to do it, we need to do it in a far more efficient manner. We have been following the cohort of dogs born in 2021. That was the first year that their famous traceability system was put in place. Currently remaining on the island of Ireland of those dogs, there are 4,213 dogs no longer racing. They've been taken out of racing. Only 26% of those have been homed, 1,000 dogs. 68%, nearly 3,000 dogs have been declared dead. So for every one dog they're homing, there are 3 dead. And that's not taking into account unaccounted for dogs who never made it onto traceability, who were born in 2021. So I referenced the RT programme earlier on, which showed that 6,000 plus dogs are being, gotten rid of every year, killed. They're not wanted. What their traceability system is showing is that rate of dead and unaccounted for dogs is continuing, and their public funding is increasing year on year. So there's a far bigger picture here. We have this bizarre situation in this country. On one end, the government are putting in tens of millions to overbreed dogs, and then they're putting in hundreds of thousands on the other end to home a handful of them. It's a drop in the ocean.
All right. We'll have to leave it there. Nuala Donlon, spokesperson for Greyhound Action Ireland. Thanks for joining us on the programme this morning. And just to say that we did ask the Department of Agriculture for a spokesperson on the show this morning, and we also asked Greyhound Racing Ireland for a spokesperson this morning. We did get that response from the Department of Agriculture, which we've read out on the show. But thanks to Nuala for joining us there. Greyhound Racing Ireland paying almost €500,000 to 2 regional care homes in recent years, including one here in Kildare, and just 65 dogs were housed, and questions raised now as to whether that's good use of taxpayers' money.